Well, hello and welcome to the GACS Operation Cupid, live from Game Arena in Columbus, Ohio. My name is Vincent, joined by Why Not. Welcome, my friend. I'm excited to get some LAN games underway. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I mean, early morning, you know how I'm doing. We live in the same house, for God's sake. I mean, we're going to be getting along with this one for the first time, actually, potentially ever for me, actually having worked a LAN remotely. So it's a lot of faces and names that I'm familiar with that usually I'm shaking hands with, right? Like seeing, being able to interact with in that capacity. But we're going to get some of the same later on with that just as well. So it's a cool new vibe.
Yeah, we got pool play today. These are the groups as you see them on your screen right now. I think, by the way, maxed out, $2,000 up for grabs. I didn't mention, but okay, actually like a banger when it comes to like the signups that we have. A lot of some mixed teams, and sure that's always going to be the case, but like a way larger amount of like at least cores of real team than I actually expected. So I'm pretty excited for that fact.
Also just full teams, not even necessarily cores, a lot of different full teams.
Yeah, and I mean, a couple that honestly make their way out to LANs on LANs on LANs. I mean, the majority of the Zealous roster I got to watch down in San Antonio mid like August last year, and have been all around Snafafu. That's a group that tends to get out here to these LANs. Definitely a favorite in our mind for what it's worth in this one over in Pool A. But yeah, I think a lot of potential in this one. I'm also just excited to see a ton of these individuals that we haven't gotten to see in a minute, like this Team Skyline squad, a bunch of guys that I haven't got to watch in a second, but I'm excited for.
Yeah, and like I guess we can take that as an opportunity to see who we're actually going to be seeing today, who we're going to be witnessing in the game, as some of these guys have been shooting along, trying to get a little bit more LAN reps in where it isn't always as easy to maybe go to a Philadelphia. Straight up monk status. And given the shot that Ohio Meat Wagon is a little bit more of a team that I think people will just know by name, even if they don't really know the players, if they're not necessarily familiar, I think that name value alone could be something that Muncle looked to break down so soon. And going on to a map like Anubis, that's one where I was like kind of shocked to hear that we were getting out in the first best of one of the day, right? Like, yeah, it's one where you got to be pretty damn good on it to not be made a fool in many instances on both CT and T sides, frankly.
Yeah, I feel like I've been not allowed to watch all that much Anubis because all the like European games that I've been casting over the past week or so, nobody wants to play Anubis. Everybody's still like banning it out, and usually it's like second round.
They know how you get when you cast Anubis.
Excited and fun?
Chat, you'll find out.
So you're just mad that I'm exciting and fun. Yeah, we're gonna have a great time, and I'm particularly excited that we get to do that on Anubis. To be entirely honest with you, I'm not like expectation-wise 100% on this. Haven't seen this full iteration of Ohio Meat Wagon, so I think that I'm tentatively interested in what they're going to be jumping in here with. But overall, though, I'm pumped to get this thing moving. The reality of Anubis, though, you gotta be able to to be a little bit more aggressive, you got to be willing to get up in the faces of your opposition. As we get a peek at the Ohio Meat Wagon. Also, just shout out incredible coordination between the Ohio Meat Wagon players. Got all of the merch settled in, but looks like we got a knife round to get this thing underway.
Pretty clean merch, not too cluttered. Simplistic designs. Gotta appreciate that. Now as the knives do quickly work themselves out, it was blink and you miss it. Seemed like all 3 of those kills had come practically simultaneously in the way of Ohio Meat Wagon. Smiles off the rip, straight out the gate. Fist bumps on LAN, and we're ready to get this one moving.
Easy peasy. Get the CT side started here for
Good
Ohio
morning
Meat
for
Wagon.
LAN. I just realized it's morning.
Yeah.
Morning.
Good morning indeed. Hope everybody's having a good one thus far. I know we're early days.
Straight out into mid too. They want to take the pace of a LAN and try and throw it back into OMW's faces, but it might actually work in their favor only if they were able to trade more effectively, because they're already being wrapped. This plant is not going to be safe.
It depends on how quick they move. Meat Wagon just slowing this thing down, not going to overstay. Gives Muncle a little time to get settled into some post plants. Hasby gets beheaded. Zed going to follow that up, and now he's the last man standing. Known from Waterfall. They make the move, overwhelming the Ohio Meat Wagon. They get themselves a pistol round and start this thing out on the right foot.
Noda ripping off heads there. It's absolutely absurd stuff. USP, the first point of re-entry, more accurately, onto the A-bomb site after the bomb was to be planted, and being able to find a brunt of those kills. It's got to feel pretty good individually. There are no resources required, no trade fragging. It's just them straight up winning out every one of the fights that Muncle throw his way. And you know what? To the victor goes the spoils. A1S, 1 of 4, obviously, but even still, getting that many fully automatic rifles into a round like this where you can anticipate a Muncle reinvestment, that's solid.
It is, though you are making some concessions. The utility belts are very low. Just going to have a few smokes here, even at this stage. And so, Muncle's reinvestment doesn't necessarily have to be all that crazy. Love this angle. This is a little scary, though, as he's turned away. Sky sent packing. Great refrag out of Noda, and sticks around. A really ambitious move. It's going to leave just G up on the A site.
Not fully cleared, as they will bypass him for a moment's notice, and not recognizing that there may be an opening between it even still, and B's got to get back, the only player who wasn't working with a rifle, so they have almost a full belt to utilize, but the guns being out is important, especially exposed, and it is a turnover. Smiles probably relatively quickly fading from the side of the Ohio Meat Wagon, given that success is only going to last them a few moments. Their time in the limelight has faded, and it's they now who need to force.
Yeah, unfortunately, Ohio Meat Wagon, I think, just a little bit disparate, right? They have Sky out on an island where there's just not a lot of support. Noda gets into position, but then sticks with that.
Not really a reason to go for that spot either.
Yeah, you know, that's a good little gimmick that might get you something, especially in a round that you need something fast, but on a anti-force buy where in reality the weaponry is sort of even, a little bit favored to Ohio Meat Wagon, sure, but nonetheless, a few mistakes going to lead to Muncle breaking through. This is not a full investment, by the way, on the CT side, and they'll be quickly run over because of that. Sky last man standing with a deagle. Not able to do much, a couple of pot shots, and then we'll fall away from that one.
You say it isn't a full investment, but obviously it isn't. Even still, what is it?
Yeah.
It's not really much of any sort of buy. It's not a save. It's not a force. It's not a half buy. It's something in between Frankenstein's monster creating now this round where they have to play with pistols and armor once again if they are going to be playing with anything meaningful long term. So it's weird now that Sky's gone knees deep all the way through to an MP9, quickly reselling as Captai looked like they were on the same boat as the one that I'm sailing with. And it seems that it will rectify itself and eventually rein it back to afford Muncle that third round without much of an issue, I can only figure. But the Pistols are still looking to do a little bit of damage. Captai, the one to have communicated a strategy of some sort, a smoke deep at B main, flashbang held. They're going to pop out, but it's Muncle on the other side of the map entirely.
Yeah.
Speaking about ships, they pass by like ships in the night.
I guess Quickie went to the Matthew Tatum SMG school of thought.
He's reformed now.
The MP5?
No, Tatum.
He's reformed?
Uses the MP7 now more.
Huh.
At least that's what I've been witnessing lately.
That's hilarious.
He gets a reference on almost every damn broadcast now, it feels like. Captai and Sky, I mean, realistically speaking, them being able to find an additional kill or two will be solid, but they're just too far apart from one another to play any supportive element. And Sky maybe not realizing that he could have gone through that smoke to try and help out and create some chaos or whatever the case may be. Just going to be keeping on to the 5-7 and the 5-7 alone. Not really anything I think that he needs for the long term, so.
Can we just talk about this craft for a second?
Say about what?
The craft?
It was like 3 phase stickers.
Yeah, with like a Cloud 9 glitter on the back.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Hot and cold.
Oh, that's
nice
cool.
Yeah.
That's an interesting concept.
Kind of nice with it. But 3-0 is, we were highlighting for Muncle, able to, or 3-1, pardon me, able to bounce back off the pistol round loss and follow that up with the anti-force of their own. Fair enough. Get into the big weapon round here. B. Winning an AWP.
Awoopa. Okay, and getting a bit further invested is Sky, who managed to find a Galil, it seems, at the end of that. Didn't quite catch, but it's a lot of money that he didn't need to invest on that might have just spread the wealth a little bit further beyond, but it's not the op, it's the rifle that has the smoke blown. Captai able to transition from the player deep to the player close. With just 20 bullets, they've already gotten themselves a man advantage doubled down in the first 35.
And just a little detail to try and break that smoke. Gather some information at minimum, but at best, that's the outcome. 2 men slapped down, and B's up, ready and waiting for the pivot back into mid. Ooh, not so free and clear. That swing for Earthman. Tap another one. Sky rotation, dead to right. The quick flick as the attempt will fall flat. Chiop converting what Captai had set up.
Noticing just a little bit of, I don't know if the word jitters is correct, but definitely a little bit of the LAN brain perhaps just feeding into some of the decisions as far as B's op is concerned. Having found 1 kill after a 2 versus 5, or 3 versus 5, pardon, that should have been enough, right? Holding that angle and holding that line, a little more important. And you can see what it does to the team when they give it up. They want just that little bit more, and LAN opping is a different beast, so.
Some might call it an addiction.
It is. You start to really heat up, and you start to feel yourself to where players who typically won't make peaks like that in any other setting feel a little bit elevated. And for better or for worse, it's not necessarily a one-way street. So it's just that round that you'll get to kind of see what it can do to you when it isn't maybe the right move.
See if that goes 2 ways. Quickie.
Holy, is that like 13,000 kills on that thing?
I didn't catch that.
This is a hyper beast, and that gun's been around for a while, so.
True.
I remember they released the hyper beast mouse. Remember that?
I do remember that.
I think they did like a sweatshirt or something like that.
Yeah, that thing, not super like that's a good example of I don't know where I would wear it, but it is really cool.
Yeah, seems like something like you see at like a skate park.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, yep.
But already in this round, it's been decent damage inflicted onto SB and Quickie with a lot of information that Ohio Meatwack can gain as far as like where they're starting, and not a whole lot of that has really changed. There hasn't been a lot of utility or reason to believe that they've directed themselves elsewhere, and that smoke, I think especially, is going to keep them leaned in towards the A site. This is the best case scenario for OMW.
Yeah, Op though misses the mark. That's not going to be ideal as SB and Zed both open the door, being now the last alive for what was a massive hold here on the A-bomb site. Captai responsible for dealing with this mid-lurk, successfully so, but 2v4, I don't know if you can afford to go back in for this.
You can buy next round so long as they save. Captai, at The $3,000 point with not a on-loss bonus, also having a pretty decent way about it, and a drop from B given that they'll have an AWP and can let something else loose, but that's not going to happen. They're still going to fight on. Kit on the cap tie bomb, not exactly planted for him to get full coverage, maybe just a little bit of it if he were to round the bend, but that's not even going to be the case. And, you know, having players stacked in one direction is one thing. Like, they had the numbers game. They had 3 with a 4th quick on rotation too, but it didn't really seem like they had an actual plan as to how they were going to go about it, attacking, let alone countering what was to come their way. Like, are we going to blow a smoke when they inevitably throw it upon our position, right? Or are you going to peek for me? Am I going to peek for you? The Opera not exactly holding a line that's meaningful for the other 2 players to be comfortable in the site.
Well, I mean, he was, but he missed the shot, unfortunately, is what happened. He was holding at the half wall, so...
Oh, he just straight up missed?
Yeah. Which will happen. Not for you, of course. I know you've never missed a shot in your life. Ooh,
okay, Earthman.
Easy enough. 3 in a row. Out of Earthman, who's hit some spicy shots, actually. It's not a pretty spray, but Sky will get there in the end. Upgrade onto the AK. Earthman ain't done yet. Ace is possible, which is 21 HP.
Dude, I'm an Earthman fan. Some would even go as far as to say I'm an Earthman stan. And if anybody can do it, then Earthman can. One more between him and finding the full 5, but he's low on HP, and Sky has distanced themselves considerably. Closer and closer. Does get the player in key, though. Just at window, his head's been spotted. Oh, he taps out once. And now it's a charge. They got to be getting down onto his position. I mean, they win the round. They've got thousands of dollars in the reservoirs for 2 players to where they can drop over even an AWP if they so please.
Terrorists win.
Surviving at minimum there, Ohio Meat Wagon. Doesn't really change the outcome, though, for the next round or any sort of purchase. You don't have enough money to really reinvest, and so this will basically just hope to be a facilitator for the next round. Hope that you can play trade frag or maybe juggle this AK, though no other Ohio Meat Wagon members have Kevlar to play with on this. Bright spot for Muncle currently.
Sky, being the player who had saved that weapon, is now out into mid with bodies to bait. Could go for a flood at some state in this one, as well as a flashbang to try to make them a little bit more useful than otherwise, but Desert Eagles across all except B, who's just stuck with the stock. So they're attempting to play distances to some stretch. Is Captai boosted right now, I believe, onto a teammate. Looks like it's a pretty solid angle, honestly, but they don't get anything for it. Ooh, after they get in, though, Nada still giving some headshots. Familiar to that pistol round. It's been actually quite some time since we've seen them get activated since that point in time, so maybe that's the ticket. Just give this guy a deagle.
Only going to post up the 1, and unfortunately, I actually like the setup there, trying to make that spray work with the AK that they saved. Could have been a cheeky way to probably get a little bit of an advantage and buy some space and time for not a round win, very likely, but nonetheless. Muncle step forward into another round. They've got 6 T-side rounds already. Looking to purchase a few more. Get B onto another op, though, sans any utility. And that's kind of a consistent factor I feel like I'm seeing from the Ohio Meat Wagon, is not really putting a lot of their resources into that utility. A massive opener from SB. And the reaction, too, might get caught, though. SB tagged down instead.
Yeah, he couldn't really put himself any deeper into that. A little bit of a forward move from Earthman to give something back in their way, however. It was a dry swing at B main, and with all the nades that they still had, questionable. No lurk available for any other point of this map, as they're all going to be coming into the A site. B has also been communicated as a player on point. Push through A main, battle himself out. A place to work off, and G-Op pins Zed to the wall. That one, as swift as it were, the bomb yet to even have been planted, still keeps them in good standings to get back in for it.
Flank 2, but it's B. It's going to be tough, and through the smoke,
Nice.
Quickie sees. Giot needs to pivot, but he can't do that. So B's op last alive. Swing and a miss as Oogie shuts him down. That's Muncle with another statement. This one from a disadvantage. 2v3 once the bomb gets planted, and they're all good.
I like how relaxed Quickie looks with the sniper there. Super smooth. Flicks are controlled. I say flicks, it's just adjustments, really. Carrying across to each of the bodies that will show flashiness not necessarily required. It looks like there was a reaction from somebody on the edge there from Muncle, who was, I believe, SB, having seen something that maybe we had missed, because that level of enthusiasm is hard to match. Looks like the rundown from the T-step, something we've not yet seen Ohio Meat Wagon do, and it's gotten them exactly what they would have wanted. They push down on that pressure point, that choke point, that meets a little bit of adversity, then sends another in through mid, Zed dead, and then they can pull back and play for what we were kind of criticizing them for before, is just playing for a little bit too much. But A is still susceptible to a swing with nobody actually leaned fully in that direction.
Yeah, you've just got Sky with a tentative hold, though that rotation's on the way. Noda going to be joining. It does mean that the B bomb site, I was going to say has 2 players here, but actually it's a full re-clear of mid being called. B's rotated off. I think he's there just to throw a flash or maybe just be a teammate, which means that if Muncle pull the trigger on this right now, they're going to have simply G-Op to deal with on the B bomb site. But this is going too slow. So slow, in fact. The flank is ongoing. It's already home. Sky backstab. And it's only the one, but they surely don't expect another. B slides around the corner before even being seen. G-Op, I think just his body spotted. Quickie going to be able to force a plant in the process. 3 different angles. B activates first. Quickie needs another nice flick, but that one's not quite on target. The Meat Wagon get back in business.
Molly and 2 smokes. Worth noting.
T-side?
Yeah. 2v3, and they've got a lot to potentially stuff with time available to them. Knowing one was an E-box, at the very least, one position that they could have flushed and forced a fight from another angle, or even forced the retake late. But getting a little bit of ahead of themselves in the individual moments where it feels like they should be winning and have been winning, where I think that one is just asking a little bit too much of those guys. Their
5 rifles here.
Yeah, their settings now set on trying to operate against B's AWP with 5 rifles, not because he's been the biggest of threats, but because he could potentially pose one now.
I think that also means a little bit of speed. Great trade, Noda. Second flash is beautiful to shut him down. Still one man here. Quick reaction. It's actually 2 that make their home the A bomb site for the Ohio Meat Wagon. They want to keep on going.
Man.
Beautiful nade. But Muncle, understandably, just got to pause. They've just got a massive advantage with this 4-on-3.
Raining nade after nade over to A, and it's kept players here. It's kept them considering that it might be a late pop. Still could potentially be one. It looks like it's gone in a little bit of a half point. They're actually passing by one another, eventually to meet sight lines, but it's just that little bit less for Captai, more for Zed as far as kills are concerned, so too. The triple already having been made. An AWP question as to whether or not it wants to give a look into a clutch, but it isn't the last round of the half. No, that's the next, and they're going to need every dollar they can get.
Yeah, one victory, not going to leave them with a whole lot, only a few survivors in that round, so the Meat Wagon happy to hang on to that. A brilliant round out of Zed, though. 3 frags total. And it's, I mean, you can kind of see it as soon as Muncle come out of spawn with 5 rifles. They wanted to make something a little bit quicker of that. The flashes were brilliant. Even with Ohio Meat Wagon having a double setup in a main, Zed able to fight his way through, trading just Earthman out to do it. And it's only SB who falls in the eventual push for the site proper. B surviving. Safety. In that one, he'll be able to help facilitate full purchase here in the 12th round of this half.
Sticking with the 5 rifle setup again, I don't think that there's any reason to go for the op unless it's on the ground. I think that's why Quickie had gotten it in the first place. That was off of B. And if any map in the pool would lend itself to that as a concept, full 5 rifle setup, it would have to be this one in that conversation. Earthman just sending a speculatory spam, I believe having her at a singular burn, but great from Geop to get through and up into Rugs. Captai was here just as well. That's where they've seen most of their success. In this area of the map is where I think they've gotten a lot of their best work done. Think back to that round where they got 2 kills, 1 in mid and then 1 at T-steps.
Yeah.
And that was their conversion. But they also give a lot of map control in order to do that.
Yeah, and that's what Muncle are hoping to take advantage of. BXX already started. And it's still only the C-Box presence, so nobody there on the back of the site, nobody even in Temple. Second man joining, Earthman trying to be a second phase to that, and the idea is good. The execution could use some work, but Zed, he's worked hard to get these 2 frags back. Successfully so. Oogie ready and willing to put this bomb down. Suffers a nade, but still survives. A 2v2.
It's a strong effort from Captai to get them into a position where this one is reasonable, not only with the kills that he had proclaimed, but also the damage that had been put through from the rifle onto a lineup. Speaking of lineups, looked like B almost had one of their own. Now Zed required to the 4K with no ammo and the better of their weaponry. Playing the time, dinking him down. G-Up taps again, and it might be done so long as one more can connect from Zed. Just enough health, and that's some energy from the boys as we turn the half over.
I mean, that's star power right there. Goes Glock mode, decides, hey, I don't have time for this reload. It's 2 entries for Zed, 4 kills in the previous round, able to pick up the pieces once again from Captai, getting an advantage. Muncle still stand tall, and it's all thanks to Zed, who leads the charge as we flip the script onto the CT side.
One HE grenade and a kit for Oogie. The rest playing with what is given to them off the rip, and somewhat of a variable as far as pistol rounds are concerned as to whether or not we're going to be getting the dual Berettas, a smoke, a molly, some flashes, nothing of that sort. Wonder what the nade will be used for eventually, though, as Earthman can only tap out a singular of them, and attention taken for SB also simply not enough. Oogie has arrived, but mid is under compromise, and he needs more than just himself, and greater than 1 man is a team, and the Ohio Meat Wagon operate as 1.
Greater than 2 men in that case as well. No surprise there. Quickie will get this 1v4 started.
I've seen him win these.
Yeah?
Nope.
Never seen him lose these until now. First time for everything. The Ohio Meat Wagon pretty desperately did need that that pistol round, though, just to get this T-side ripping and rolling. Like I actually said, I haven't gotten to see all that much of Anubis. Where are we sitting right now? Like T-side win rate?
It's just the same.
Think so?
I think it's just the same. Maybe like a percentage point less, if that.
Really? You don't think it's more significant?
No.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Zed, are we being for real? They just overwhelm. It's 4 all in and down into the canal. Overwhelming 2 Ts, but at least B is taken by the Ohio Meat Wagon. What a big claim, though. A Galil and a additional MAC-10 going to be held here for Muncle. And to be honest, it wouldn't be unreasonable for them to just like walk away with this thing, but they're ecoing fully. So anything extra they can get would be a massive addition, a big bonus. But Ohio Meat Wagon, they're not having any of that. Another resmoke into E-Box, and by the time sprint in is Oogie. He's the only one without anything to lose. Zed will happily walk away with the Galil.
You know how in on HLTV you can do like team and players histories, like when they had this lineup or when. I wish they did that for maps where it was like when it was in the map pool for this period of time and this period of time, because then you got to kind of find out those dates yourself and filter it.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out that answer for you a little bit more accurately. So.
Gotcha. Guns are hot. SB keeping with the MAC-10. Could have afforded plenty more. And actually keeping with just a very limited plethora of utility here, too. Interesting decision, no doubt, out of Muncle. Swing on the timing. Earthman not going to get anywhere with that. Now SB, lesser weaponry. And at that point, probably felt like it would have been nice to have an M4. It's all up to Oogie. He's the last one who could have an impact on this round. This is the first and can't adjust the spray. So the Ohio Meat Wagon are right back in this thing very quickly.
So, to answer your question.
Hit me.
It is a 5.6 percent difference favoring T-side currently, as of the last 3 months, we'll say.
5.6% more favored?
Spread. No, current spread from
Okay.
So it's 52.8 to 47.4.
Okay, gotcha.
And it used to be, and again, this is kind of like tough because I don't know the exact dates of when it was in the pool,
Yeah,
or like when it left. But it looks like it was 55.1 and 2024 all throughout the entirety of 2024. So,
So what's the spread on that one?
10.
Okay. So it's a 5% difference.
Just under. It's like a 4.3,
Yeah.
4.3,
Okay.
4.4.
I think that's like kind of what I anticipated.
But yeah, like I said, I don't know. That could have just been like the early days of Anubis before people like actually figured it out. Because I'm pretty sure it was in 2025 when people started. I don't know. I'd have to do better research than that later.
Yeah,
I'd like to.
that's a good it's a good concept.
Yeah.
Good question.
If we're going with 2025, it was 56.2. So for T side, so that's even greater. So yeah, I guess you're right.
So-
it's a pretty
so-
significant
yeah.
difference. Significant enough to make mention of is the difference now in the finances is no longer really a question for the Ohio Meat Wagon. Now that they've gotten onto their T side, they get their chances to try and hit the reset button on Muncle.
Thought we were going to get Quickie's chance to ring out with that op a second ago, but they call a cancel on that. Ohio Meat Wagon not going to commit. Bomb just recollected outside of B. That's being shipped back over to the other side of the map on A. G up. Some A main control. Canals in the favor of the T's. Sky. Encroachment over mid. He's so important because he can cut off rotations. When does he activate? Gonna be late. 3 ready to roll on this A hit.
Ready, but maybe not as ready as they can be. They want to get more ready, and that means closer and closer, but actually just into the lion's den and the spray down at both mid and A main. They're melted. They might get through their point that they were initially having looked to break down, but ineffective trades in mid makes this 2-pincer prong a lot less effective when Noda is the last one left to clutch. It's not impossible. They've gotten themselves the ability to isolate a duel as they... Oh, hold on. If one of these CTs just goes walking in solo, that could have been a very easy frag, but they want to tuck. They want to play for the headshot angles, and the exposition of the AWPer knows where he's at, but the last of which is the actual question mark. It's Zed, who arrives just in time, and they're not sure where to look, and I can't blame them.
Yeah, that's... Could have probably been a little bit more scary for Muncle, but in reality... Zed's flank is the finalization of that round. 10 double digits acquired. And the Ohio Meat Wagon ready to try and bounce back. At least they've been able to build up enough bank to do that. I don't think that the initial game plan there was bad out of the Ohio Meat Wagon. They just took a long time to actually facilitate that execute. A lot of times the mid attack going to be secondary, but because they're waiting for their second man to get into mid, instead of just letting that one guy be the lurk to maybe cut off the rotation, that allowed time for Muncle to then get interested, flash into a main, take a fight. Same true for the mid duel. And the trade's not quite there as you highlighted.
I feel like Oogie being 16 and 10 is something I haven't really noticed. It's been like kind of like a quiet rise to the top.
I mean, it's been consistent.
Yeah, you just, if you're finding like 1 or 2 kills every round, like they don't necessarily need to be the craziest kills. They don't even necessarily need to be quote unquote impact kills, but
Been pretty impactful though, in my opinion.
I think clearly, peppering in frags to that extent, to Zed being the one that we have been saying the name of pretty regularly, I think that shows that they have to be impactful in some way, shape, or form. When Zed has taken most of the limelight, who else is there?
Yeah, 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
if you will. Instead, dropping a nade, but not going to fight behind it, not even look. Instead of smoke, cycled right after that. Slower default out of Ohio Meat Wagon, very much shaping like they did last round.
I was going to say, he waits just long enough where he doesn't throw a nothing molly, because that smoke is going to fade right about as that Molotov will just finish up. And now he'll know. One tick heard. Zed feels pressured, needs to battle on, or at the very least force his opponent away. And there's action happening all over. It's B that's under the biggest scrutiny, however. There's one in the back of the site, but they can't really see a whole hell of a lot, and they can't cover both of the angles. They can't get themselves out from the backside of this pillar unless Earthman is to arrive on the perfect rotation time. He can't. Seconds late, and all has befallen around him. This site should be done for.
I mean, Muncle just need to save if they want to have any chance of repurchasing into the next round, and even that is not a guarantee. If anybody goes down, they're going to stick it out, stick with it, and they're going to pay a heavy price. SB, the last man standing, pulls one for the road, but will be popping out of this round. An attempt to save. Rare moment for Muncle where Zed not able to make anything happen. A big misstep from Quickie with the utility in hand, gets caught out, isn't expecting the Ohio Meat Wagon to just continue to move forward at a quick clip. And even the save going to be denied. So chances of purchasing, I was about to say not that high, but they do have a little more loss bonus than I was thinking, because they did lose 4 rounds.
Yeah, they've kind of been rolling through this one, this second half.
So they actually should be buying. It's not going to be ideal, but
they could go for a half, which I wouldn't really be mad at. They've got to hit 5 loss bonus rounds soon enough, or at least after the 1 round reset that was in between them, the 4, at which everybody will have everything that they want, including the sniper rifle and utility atop of it. So yeah, that is what will be happening.
Muncle that just took that tack pause.
To talk that out, it looked like, because they first had an op on Quickie.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to get a vision of who was doing the most yapping in that one. I couldn't really tell.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the player in the middle for all teams, or do you think that's not something that stands true for?
I don't think that's true for every team, especially not at, like, you know, local LAN.
Sure.
I think it's more about the vibe, actually. How that nade tastes, Quickie. Yum, yum.
Underhanded it.
Yeah. Like, if I to continue on my point, you know, if you and me are good friends and you're the guy that's gonna, like, if you're on my right or my left or whatever, gonna give me the high five every round, and, like, you know, we're gonna, like, you know, look over and little smirk type thing. The vibes are gonna be high. I think that's more important than centralizing your IGL.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I don't inherently disagree. However, I think IGL should have first dibs on the middle seat.
All right.
If they don't want it, then that's on them type thing. That's a little bit of a cautionary tale as to how you need to hold your angles there if you are Ohio Meat Wagon, though, because if you're a little bit too wide, then the 5-step can abuse you. A back that is turned, and there's only one left. It's B.
Is it
a molly? I don't know if that was onto the bomb. It looks like it was a little bit shallow, and even if it weren't, there's a smoke onto it now. He's got a round, opening again into a misfire. B has been a little bit too quick for their own good sometimes, but just low enough. I think Zed should be a dead man. No kid. It's still round 1, pardon me, but they got everything that they would have wanted out of it.
Yeah, that's a ton of damage, ton of kills, a little bit of extra cash. They can now afford everything they could ever want on this gun round. But it is Ohio Meat Wagon continuing to ramp this up. This T side continues to move forward, even if that one was a lot closer than it probably should have been. Plenty of cash to rebuy everything on the Meat Wagon side as well. Muncle, quite happy. Not to be that guy, but Quickie has, I think, 1,800, didn't buy a kit. Hope that's not a problem.
Might be more future-proofing his ability to buy an AWP.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's $400 that, in his mind, and probably in others' minds, he shouldn't have to buy out, seeing as they have 3. 1 per site. And another in mid. spread, not knowing if that was intentional or otherwise, but Zed has been struggling, it feels like, in E-Box to have his name be known and for it to actually matter. Like, 1-for-1 simply isn't enough if he instantly goes down. This bomb site doesn't have as much reinforcements as it would like to by the time that they get down, and it's been regular that this third player here is just too hot to the jump.
Yeah, I mean, and unfortunately, it's also been like a struggle, whether it's 2 rifles or just the rifle in the op. Quickie's been here a couple of times. Both have been ineffective.
They might need to make a move next round, like an early jockey for position.
And Muncle correctly feeling the pressure that, you know, they are losing this lead at a pretty quick rate, but it's not yet lost. So taking a save, it's not yet to the point where you need to be panicking.
And they don't need to save next round, potentially, if they just continue to, unfortunately, lose. So it's entering, like, bye territory at some point, too, which is, I would say, obviously not where you want to be, considering you have to lose to be there, but also it's a pretty good spot to be in when you still hold that lead.
Right.
So for next round, it'll be pretty nice to be able to say that even if we do lose everything, our bye will still be okay because of that save. It'll be great, but we'll have at least 4 rifles and somebody taking a sacrifice. But they want to win.
Yeah, they do.
And in that, looks like they will do exactly as requested. They will be going for a little bit more of an open stance, a little bit more of a wide peak, and a play that will be utterly annihilated. It looks like from both players at Rugs they will find kills. Not ready for the next of them initially, but they turn back because it's Muncle who staggered their peak. The A site's looking mighty fine.
Earthman gonna have to step up.
Nice.
Step up he does, but that's a second molly that joins him. But that should be enough to at least buy his time some space to try. Gonna be slowed down. Bomb thinking about moving out entirely in the hands of Cupid, but instead it's just a pause, and that has successfully split the defense. Quickie moves to B. So Zed, still the last man standing here. Slow down, we've talked about. Sentry, they're not going to go so quick on this, so this will allow for Quickie to rejoin.
He can see around that if he just taps even once. It's going to be a very nice sight line onto what would have been a close angle, but bomb to be planted, shown even then. 30 seconds left. Needs that offer to swing, as every time he changes his angle, it seems like Zed has gone to the other. Reload is off. He's got a molly and a smoke, so he can separate them. He can isolate them. He just needs to be able to throw it without being exposed. Zed, here's the one close left, burns him out into the open, but that'll actually be his demise. 10-10. And we enter high time for Anubis, to where, frankly, I think the Ohio Meat Wagon may have just done enough.
I think they have. I mean, Cupid been consistently good, but that is a statement swing, actually, just letting them know. You know, and that's up against the star of the first half, the brightest of them all. Well, for Muncle, it goes down with nada. Earthman did all that he possibly could in a solo effort. The aggressive stance that you were highlighting in Canal doesn't work out. They try for something different, but Molly going to meet them on what was meant to be a B swing initially. Second flash going to be right on target. Oogie gets info, but do they want to stick around? Just insert this off.
Last round, as you aptly had put it. They go down with Nada, but Nada goes up with Ohio Meat Wagon. It's 15-13 right now. It's been starting to really re-enter the conversation as B posted on lines for everybody to continue their way forwards. Has also done the job well. Earthman, ever reliable for that singular when they're actually given a fight that's even remotely fair. And Quickie having to back out on the back ends of a smoke. Sees Zed, who's at E-Box, that goes undetected for just a long enough period of time. They push through water. They got just out of the sight hold, and Quickie missing. Need to actually rein yourself in a little bit here.
Another reswing. Doesn't do that. Zed isolating another fight, but Noda wins that one too. So Earthman needs to step up for this clutch. Already claimed 2. healthy for it. Noda running away, not going to be caught on the escape. Earthman has time, kit included. Noda with a free bomb plant. Easy does it onto the A site. Earthman just going to take out the knife and sprint.
I wonder how much freedom Nada actually believes that he has to get anywhere closer. He drops a smoke to try and, at the very least, create a little bit of a doubt in the back of the mind of Earthman as to where he could have gone just as well. Perfect angle, having heard the step, but Earthman's third man, perfect play, and a great stutter step beyond the baskets in order to get a round in for a CT side that's been suffering a drought.
I mean, they needed that, and they needed it bad. A drought 7 rounds deep. Muncle just able to post one other CT side to this point. And it takes an Earthman clutch, a couple of clutch rounds, or at least attempts that don't go quite far enough. Muncle trying exactly what you highlighted, you know, getting a little bit more aggressive. Arguably that not working all that effectively. Still yet able to figure out a way to win. Reliance on the late round shenanigans from the Earthman.
B previously having held for E-Box control, just hit with a spam in through the smoke. Zed almost receives one right on back, but dodges those bullets. SB can't say that they've done the same. That's bomb still yet to be recollected now, but as they've gotten themselves an opening pick in between. Mid now, a bit of a liability. Maybe Oogie looks to try and force his way ahead, seeing that he may be able to push them into the B stack if he does find success on his own turf.
Oh, but that's so risky. As the smoke fades, though, he is successful. Coming alive, or is it? Captai, another opening, spotted onto a second, damage done as the op swings out, rings true, into Pizza, Captai seen, dismantled, but the rotation onto B, it's not going to be where the Meat Wagon find their plant. It is instead an A site overtaken.
Should be a save, frankly, but they feel as if they don't really have any more room to go for such maneuvers if they want to win this game. I think that they also, too, think this might be one of their best chances before having forced to save immediately.
Smoke for that.
Yeah, as well as that kit onto Oogie, but that means that Quickie's going to need to turn himself onto 180 degrees to find either of the two players. He's not ready. He's actually looking more so into the flank. He's stuck to the fuse. The bomb will not be figured out only because of a bomb of their own. They underhand it straight onto him as damage from the AK has softened him enough.
But the bomb on the bomb,
I'm not sure how it doesn't blow up.
no, it's multiplicative, actually. It's twice as powerful now.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a bigger boom.
I don't think that's true.
Takes out Muncle in one bang. What do you know about that?
I don't think you played this game. Something tells me.
That's definitely not true. Don't check my hours.
Is it because the C4 is like a chemical bomb or something, where it needs to be like...
I don't know. I'm genuinely making it up as I go.
Some reason as to why the HE grenade doesn't blow it up. Forget what it is, though.
That's probably accurate. Muncle.
You tell me these guys walk around with bottles of gasoline and lighters, but they create a chemical bomb, though?
Yeah, apparently. Muncle are out of rope on this one. Running out of time. It's an auto shotty for SB. It's MP9's best that they can offer. In such a crucial round to Ohio Meat Wagon. 3-9 at the half have made this comeback a reality. Slow and methodical T-side play, but whoa, what a shot on that scout.
Wow, that was so controlled. Again, flashbacks to what looked like the first half where he was playing in the same way on the op. Not to that degree, but in a moment where they only have limited resources, getting a top of that weapon from Nada would be a big plus. I just don't know if they've actually done anything with that dropped weapon, whether it had been thrown out the map, but they're not going to let them get to it. They're going to try and close out before they get the chance to. Blown away by the shotgun only temporarily, forcing Earthman forwards, doesn't want to deal with E-Box, and then runs right into where Sky lied and wait. This is the best case scenario for Ohio Meat Wagon. They've made the best out of their T side. They didn't let this game get away from a potential comeback, and that Molotov should be Zed's end. Oogie, he's all the way on B main, but he's going to be left alone after Sky hits a bit of a tap. There's that AK that I had mentioned loud about throwing the rifle, or the SMG back rather, but not confirmed, not loud enough.
No escape either. The Meat Wagon are all the way there, all the way back to a winning position. Muncle, 9-3 at half, go to the CT side, and it's pain all day. At least this buy is infinitely better than the last one. A real chance to push into overtime. Something tangible that they can hold on to. They've tried these aggressive stances, they've tried some stacks, they haven't worked. And so they go back to the default, 3-1-1. But Ohio Meat Wagon, who've been so slow, they speed it up, they get right up in Zed's face. One, but just that. With Noda, who you noticed heating up consistently, does it again. Out from B main, and the bomb site at B is mostly the T's.
Needs to be a piece of utility thrown in the direction of Muncle to ensure that they can't get atop of that bomb. The molly will do. It will even actually, after having served its initial purpose, also give away where Earthman had played from. Oogie with it all to do. One man, one goal, one round that will separate them between overtime and losing outright. And it looks as if this one may be done where it stands. Incendiary is solid, but the nade to blow open that smoke, he plays around, and it's absolutely read by Noda. It's the Ohio Meat Wagon, and it's an incredible return to form with all of regulation required, but they won't at all care about anything like that.
All the way back, all the way from the brink. That is a very impressive step back. And it's not that, you know, it's crazy to do that on the map of Anubis, but
Tough.
But Tony, the reality is it's a mental hurdle that you got to get over when you're talking about being able to stick with that map throughout. They just played their own game, right? Basically committed to their slow, pretty consistent default, and were making these late hits work incredibly well.
It's the lay of the LAN for the side of Ohio Meat Wagon. Looks like the station has been left, and they're ready and off to the rest of this one, as it feels as if this tournament might be one that they get a couple more opportunities to show themselves. Anubis, I know, while it wasn't obviously perfect, you know, a win is a win.
Yeah.
That's always very good, but what they can show down the line is going to need to be perhaps a little bit better than even that if they're going to want to stack up against the teams that we're a little bit more familiar with, even still, right? Like Anubis is a map that's very unforgiving, but the mental fortitude they show, if they had a little bit more success early as well, that's not to say that they couldn't have done even further damage and made it look like a more convincing victory, right? Imagine that the sides flip-flopped. Imagine they start on that.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of, you know, sometimes when you start to talk about this, it's like, hey, you know, you lose a knife round, you don't get your preferred side to start, and then, you know, things start to get out of hand. But that's kind of why I was giving them so much praise, because, you know, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. You have to be able to stick in that map and understand that, hey, like, we're in a position where this doesn't look good, but understand and believe in yourself that can be the case. And I think what I was particularly impressed by, you know, we kind of had these like huge heroic moves being made in the first half there, coming through by the likes of Zed. Those denied. I feel like basically being able to like say, hey, this is probably just a guy, you know, having a good half. We're going to be able to step forward and probably bring whatever we need to him and make sure that that's not going to happen in the second half. I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think that they had clear players that they were going to try and work through, but we're going to get the opportunity to talk to one of those players on the Ohio Meat Wagon and how the adjustments had come through straight from the horse's mouth. Not that he's a horse or anything like that, but Captai, we've got chilling with us here. How's it going, man?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm glad we could pull off that comeback on that map. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, you guys were full of smiles. I think even like straight out the gate, it looked like prior to even the game, you guys were having a good couple of laughs. So I want to lead off with that as a point. How the mental going on to a LAN really is functioning for you guys coming into it. Are you guys, what's the outlook as far as the emotions are concerned?
We're feeling pretty confident. We feel like we've been putting in some work these past couple months, so we're ready to show it on LAN too. But,
okay, yeah.
We're feeling good about it. We're just enjoying the whole event and everything.
Well, I mean, maybe follow up on that with regard to like the expectations for you guys. Like, where do you see yourself within the pecking order here? What would be a very successful event for you? What would be a not so successful event for you? I mean, obviously starting out the group stage with a victory is huge, but kind of walking through where you guys are thinking that you're looking to be.
I think making top 8 is doable. Even top 4 might, if depending on who our first round matches, if we make it that far. I feel like we can make a little dent here. I don't know if we can make it all the way to the finals, but I've been feeling pretty confident about how we're playing, especially because we just didn't give up that map. So I feel like we can keep it running here.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were just saying. I don't know if you were actually, on the call with us by the time that we were doing our little yap session prior to getting you through, but talking about how you guys had that resilience, it's obviously something where you see a 13-11 and you're like, oh man, that must have been a really close game. But think about it in the context where if you guys start on T side, that could very well have been a completely different story, right? You could have ran away with as far as maybe even 9 to 10 rounds on that, right? And it would have been a completely different scoreline by the finish. So talk to me a little bit about the I guess I'll say the ugly side of that game. Talk to me a little bit about the CT side, because it's not one that a lot of people favor, obviously. It's not one that people would prefer to play on, but it's one that you got to have to deal with sometimes. What were your biggest issues, would you say, you're running into?
I feel like we're still trying to figure out how to play mid on CT side with the addition of the moving of the hole in mid. I think we're still trying to figure that out, but I think as far as CT goes, we feel like if on Anubis, if we get like 3 or 4 rounds, we're still in the game. So on that map, we knew we were going to start CT side because we picked one knife round, so we picked it, and we knew we were going to start CT side if we got in that situation. So as long as we got at like 3 or 4 rounds, we were still ready to come back on T side. We never had a doubt that the game would still get a little close.
It's a pretty good floor level mindset to have.
Yeah, no doubt. I think another part of that was you guys were witnessing some big step up moments from guys like Zed, consistently like being able to pick up multi-frags. Kind of in that same vein with regard to like the mindset of somebody having, just a really good half and being able to play well. Is that something that you're ever like worried about at halftime? Because we were just talking about, being able to just kind of be willing to say, yeah, he played well, but we've got this coming up. What's the mindset at halftime when you've got somebody with like, what did he have, like 18 kills or something at half?
Yeah, I mean, we just kind of focused on our own game and then just kept doing what we practiced. I will say, like, our team's pretty close, so we never, like, doubt each other, really. Noda and Ippy are actually my brothers.
Okay.
What? And so we're, like, so us 3, and then the other 2 are people from, also from around here in Ohio. So we're, like, Noda and Ippy are my brothers. So, I mean, I yell at them a lot, but they always step up in the big moments, so I'm proud of how they played today.
Who's the oldest and who's the young? What's the...
I'm the oldest, and then Noda is the youngest. Ippy is in the middle.
Okay, all right.
But,
and what's the age gap between you and the youngest?
About 9 years.
Wow, so, that's crazy. In Counter-Strike, that's like unheard of.
Yeah, so I'm the oldest. I'm 28, so my younger brother Noda is he hits some headshots because he's still young. I'm like
raising a prodigy. I see.
Yeah.
Who's calling the shots for you guys over at the Ohio Meat Wagon?
I'm the IGL. I've been calling for like years now. I've been to lots of game arenas and won a couple back in like 2021, and I've always been calling. So everybody's following my lead out there.
Yeah, clearly. I think that you were leading by example in many rounds. You say he was hitting headshots and because he's young and you're not, or something like that. But I don't think that that's true. I thought that you actually had a pretty solid game in a couple of different moments. You kind of needed to step up. I think you did so successfully. So going into the rest of this tournament, I think the expectations have already been set. I think that the out the gate exposition as to the level you guys think that you can bring has also been set by you yourself verbally. So all that's left is to see it put pen to paper. And I think this is a really good beginning for you guys. So congratulations.
Thanks. Thank you for having us.
100%. Yeah, a whole lot of fun to get to talk to Captai. That's amazing. That's sick.
So cool. I mean, you hear about like twins and stuff like that, and you know that's whatever. But 9 years difference when there's a third brother in the middle, that's crazy.
And twins are not whatever. That's cool too.
No,
that's,
of course.
it's like a whole other.
We just got so many twins nowadays.
Okay.
Kind of boring.
Wow, not boring for me. Dude, if I could get my brother to play Counter-Strike, it'd be sick.
Yeah. Well, typically when you're twins, you just play it at the same time anyway because you're twins. You know what I mean? Like the likelihood of you playing at the same time is a lot different from me being like, oh yeah, my brother 10 years removed from me. Like, yeah, we're playing. Like, bro, he experienced a different version of the game entirely at one point.
Though, isn't that how like I feel like half of the pros stories start?
Sure, but they
like
like take them along with them.
My big brother was playing, and then he like
And then I got
started doing other things, and so I had the computer, and I decided that I was actually better.
Yeah, there's a ton of the stories where it's just like, well, we go to LANs, and then I would play with him, and then other teams would yell at me, and then my brother would like starting to fight them because I'm like 9. Like those kinds of stuff. I forget who told that story exactly. Might have been like Nothing. I forget who exactly.
That sounds pretty reasonable.
Yeah, he'd like trash talk, and then other people would be like talking back. But either way, we got ourselves a day up ahead of us, man. Like that was a really good way, I think, to kick things off. It took everything. It was pretty much a full spread of Counter-Strike as far as what you can come to expect from a game.
Yeah, I think, can we pop
everything.
up the schedule real fast? I think we do have that.
Anarchy.
Yeah, take a peek here. Yeah, just getting started here in our first side of things. That was over in Group B. We've got Group A coming up with Anarchy's accounting firm. Also a fantastic team name. But up against Thinkers Academy as well. That's going to be coming up next. We're getting that thing prepped and ready ASAP. But yeah, I think that this is already like a good statement piece out on Anubis to start us out with a little comeback.
Yeah, getting a comeback in the beginning shows that there are still some teams, even in the early mornings, who are ready to make those kinds of moves, and that's not always simple in Counter-Strike in general, let alone at that. So let's check out what we've seen as results from Group A and Group B thus far. We've gotten Skyline to take a victory 13-0, actually, over that of, I believe, something missing here.
It's hard because they wouldn't have gotten any rounds.
Yeah, wait. 13-9, sorry, over Vlandian. Okay, it's going to be that as a pretty solid win anyway, I would say. Skyline and Vlandian are a pretty close set team in some ways. You know, individually speaking, I would say weaponized incompetence. That's a team I actually think is really, really solid. Overall, one of my favorites for this event. I think that these players have a lot of history together, some good chemistry, as well as some good individuals that you can even point to when not even put into a 5-player roster and squad. And then Snafafu's tuition farm taken actually a little bit closer than I was anticipating by a team that we're going to get the chance to watch on to next, Anarchy's accounting firm.
Yeah, that listen, that one's kind of interesting. The reality of that Anarchy team is that they are, I mean, the core 4 out of 5 main squad. So like that definitely a big deal. We're probably going to get into some of the details of that in a few moments. We've got a couple of minutes though. We're going to take a break. When we return, we'll jump into the action here with the second match up here, Anarchy's accounting firm, coming up next.